Spencer Lazara MMA interviews alongside Colby Covington here in Las Vegas for International Fight Week, UFC 189. A lot of festivities going on, man. You're out here fresh off a win over a veteran like Mike Pyle, getting some love from the fans downstairs. Has life kind of changed for you in these last 3 fights you've gotten?
Yeah, I would say a little bit. It's changed. I can do more things now. I have the option to go train, down in Miami with George and Paulino and Alberto. So it definitely gives me a little bit more leeway. I'm not broke as much anymore. So, now I can chase my dreams a little bit easier.
Were you working while you were fighting then before the UFC and keeping a job? How was that going for you?
No, I wasn't working at all. I was I was living off this guy's couch, man. He was supporting me every which way he could, He's just like, he kept me on this path, I had about 3 years where I was just broke and I didn't have any fights, and then, all of a sudden it can change overnight, and that's what you love about the UFC.
Talk about that team down there at ATT, man. You guys are killing it. Had 80% win ratio last weekend down there in Florida. Now you got a bunch of guys on the card here this week.
Yeah, we got a great thing going on right there. The chemistry in the gym is pretty good right now. There's always going to be some bad apples, but Dan Lambert's righting the ship, and he's providing guys with the tools and resources to go get belts, and that's what we're in this sport for.
We see a lot of guys that have a great wrestling base like you kind of work on other things, maybe get away from that. How important is it for you to kind of keep that wrestling base, keep that alive, and have that be your dominant background while also still incorporating other things, getting better at striking and whatnot?
I think that's very important. You hear with guys like Josh Koscheck where they don't train any more wrestling. All they do is they box and they grapple, and then you see what ends up happening. Those guys end up going, they start getting knocked out. They start getting submitted. It's because they go away with what got them to where they're at. I'm not ever going to go away from wrestling. It's always going to be in guys' heads that I'm going to wrestle you, but am I going to come up with a strike? What am I going to do? So, I'm not going to go too much away from it, but I'm going to keep evolving as a fighter and get better everywhere I can.
What are your goals for the remainder of 2015 and moving into 2016?
I want to be in the top 10 before 2016's over, or 2015's over. By the time 2016 comes around, I want to be, getting top 10 fights. So.
We want to fight 2 more times. I mean, the year's already. We're here in July. We've got half the year left, a little less.
It'd be nice. I would love to get 2 fights in, but I don't know if it'll work that way. If I could get something in like September and then December, that would be best case scenario. But as long as I get 1 more fight before the year ends, then I'll be happy. You
said you actually were going to fight this Saturday or Saturday, except a cut kind of forced you out.
Yeah, I got offered the Gunnar Nelson fight when his guy got pulled out, but unfortunately when I fought Mike Pyle, we had an accidental headbutt in the 3rd round. I had to get stitches and a cut, so I wasn't able to take the fight, but, it would have been a great opportunity. I'm kind of bummed out that I couldn't take it.
Going back to that fight, talk about beating a veteran like Mike. The guy's been around for a long, long time, and you were able to dictate the pace and control the fight for the most part.
Yeah, man, it was a learning experience, definitely. I took the fight on short notice. No credit away from him. He's a tough fighter. I respect him a lot. We had some good words in the cage, but I learned a lot from myself that fight, to take it on short notice and to fight the way I fought. I'm only getting better every time I get out there.
Definitely excited to see the next one. Colby Covington, keep an eye out for him moving through the UFC welterweight division.
If you're 4'9" to 5'3", 120 and 157 pounds, you belong to Colby Covington. If you 6 foot to about 5'3", 115 to 135 pounds, you belong to your boy right here.
That's reverse osmosis.